Here we are. Here we are with the podcast number 2. Today we have no visuals. We're just going straight audio tonight. And we have Hoya. Hoya is coaching like 5-year-olds playing basketball. YMCA in, I don't know, downtown LA or something. That doesn't sound that great. Needle probably knows a thing or two about that. And Needle is the guest tonight. So welcome, Needle.
What's up, gentlemen?
How are you doing?
Hey, man. It's Friday night. Got a few beers. It's fucking good, man.
Very good.
It's normal, except you ain't playing Super Mario 3 right now. That's all.
Soon, bro. Right after this is done, man. I'm getting on right at Mario 3. We're getting right back into the groove.
You're really not that good at it, though. Like watching you.
How long have you been playing Mario for?
Let's see. Probably started when I was about 5 years old. Really fucking shitty at it most of my life. And over the past maybe 2 years, gotten pretty damn good at it. So we're going to say I got about, I don't know, 2K hours into it, I'd say. 2,000 hours, maybe?
Wow.
That'd be awesome.
So what made you get back into it?
Actually, it was in college, man. It was fucking like, we would, off-season, spring ball shit, you know, you would do your whole work week. Then Friday would come, and that's like your day to kind of like recuperate. And we would go to happy hour at the local bar, but happy hour fucking in college, and it's so early, it'd be like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And you know, in college, you don't go out till what, 10 o'clock at night?
At least, yeah.
You know, right. So you had to fill in those 3 hours or 4 hours. So one way we would do it was we would play Power Hour, and within the Power Hour we played Mario. And for every death you would get playing Mario, would be an extra shot in a Power Hour.
Any other cool rules? Anything else you did with the Power Hour that we should know about?
You couldn't use P-Wings. Like, that was a big thing. Like, you had to beat the levels. But outside of that, it was just kind of like keep up with your drinks. You know. Oh, you couldn't piss. Couldn't piss.
Oh shit!
Fucking pee yourself, man. Like, fuck you.
Hey, you just gave like a 90-second explanation just to say, first year teacher, got no friends, I'm all on the internet. That's all you really needed to have to say. Like,
the fuck you talking about, son?
I'm streaming Super Mario Brothers 3 on a Friday night. What do y'all want me to drink? That's all you had to say.
Yeah, streaming's a big deal nowadays. We got a lot of people on 2+2 that are streaming. There's that one dude, Trump. Do you guys know him at all?
Lucky Luck.
Lucky Luck, yeah. He started off just. I remember it started when he was posting a lot on 2+2, and he said that when StarCraft 2 came out, he made like a one-off post being like, yeah, you know, I think I'm going to try and become a pro when StarCraft 2 comes out. And he got a beta key, and then next thing you know, he just put in the work for a really long time, and then after like a year or two of working at it, his stream just started to blow up, and now he's like a friggin' household name around here.
It's a couple people, like one person in particular, I'm forgetting his name right now, that like in the sports betting forum all the time, claims like he just crushes StarCraft lines on, like I think he lives in Australia, and he says that like just routinely beating closing lines on StarCraft matches by 80 cents or something. Like is that people really do that? That's a thing?
I mean, can you fucking handicap a thing? It's not a sport, man. Like,
sure.
I don't know how you can handicap that shit.
Sure, yeah. You can. I mean, like, let's make a bet right now. How long it takes me versus you to get through? I don't know, level 1.1 on Mario. Like, you got to give me 45 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something like that. The issue I always see with it though is there's really no money yet in video games, and there's some, but it's like it's so polarized. Where like the 0.0001% of streamers and people who are really trying to do it get something out of it and can actually make a living by it. So the incentive to cheat and to rig games is, I mean, that's the only incentive, right?
He's been talking about that too, man. He like basically. There are big competitions, I guess, in Japan or whatever, from what I've read, and what this dude says is that like there was once or twice like people that at some point, if you're not going to win if the biggest prize is $10,000 and you're not going to win the $10,000, and Pinnacle has a line that says you're, minus 200 or whatever, get all your friends to bet the $100 max lines or whatever they are, and just keep on pounding it until, because he said that he's seen lines go from plus 200 to minus 400, And I mean, and dude seems. I mean, I've talked to him a couple times, and he seems like he knows what he's talking about. I just, to me, like they are playing video games in the end.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about Needle the streamer here. So what about Needle the football player, Needle the football coach? What's the background here, Needle, for those of the folks who are tuning in or who aren't as familiar?
I bet he got a big ass.
I have a big ass, dude.
I bet you do.
Yeah, the shit that people just dream about, man. Fucking. Yeah, man. I played high school ball in Jersey, and coming out of high school, I received a couple scholarship offers. I decided to choose a Division II college.
What size were you? Like high school senior, height and weight?
As a high school senior, I was 6 foot. Probably about 230, probably.
And like bench and like.
Actually, no. I was probably, you know what, man? I was probably about 205, 210. High school senior.
What?
Yeah.
You got scholarship offers as a 210-pound offensive lineman?
I was playing defense. I was getting scholarship offers defensive end, and a lot of coaches felt that if I had redshirt year, I could get larger and play offensive line if needed. But typically, I was going D end, rush end. Is what I was doing.
You had pretty high football IQ, according to the folks that were looking into you.
Well, I was white, so of course.
I was gonna say he's scrappy. He's got a good motor.
Right. Yeah.
They could make something out of this guy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, they would see a tape and see white dude. Obviously, fucking smart.
He's got a motor.
That's what you gotta do. I mean, that's when I was doing recruiting. That's what I did. Smart. That'd be the first thing I put up. See a white guy, smart.
Now, do you think that's still a stereotype that's going to hang around for a while? People get a lot of shit now when they say things like that.
It's not
the first thing. You know, we're joking about it here, but it still happens.
It's a media stereotype. I don't know coaches that actually have those conversations. I mean,
really?
just from my experience, like it's just more of just you look for the football player. I don't give a shit what you look like, man. Like I look for the football player.
Yeah, but can't you just...
Can I cuss? Am I allowed to curse?
No.
There's only one rule, and the rule is fuck raids. So.
Okay.
No, this week the rule is fuck Dr. Ikes.
No, I ain't doing that.
You told me not to say that, but I did it anyway. How about that?
All right.
No.
So
but you have to group players based on attributes, and once you do group players on attributes, you might start to see with your human eye.
Dude, I thought we were talking about being a football player right now.
Right, but when you're recruiting them in college or whatever, you're going to start to group them based on the particular skill set that you're looking for.
Yeah, but
and when you do that,
black, dude.
All of a sudden, no, but like once you do, there's gonna end up being some white guys doing this and some black guys, but like you're clearly like the positions, like let's say center. If you're recruiting a center, from what I understand, and you can correct me, centers need to be pretty damn smart. And that's not to say white, black, whatever, but you're going to see a lot of centers that are
I can coach smart,
average.
though, dude.
I
can coach
right?
smart.
Right, I believe you. I mean, other than what I know about you, I believe you can.
Other than what I know about
Yo, man, I got rings, dude. I got fucking rings.
All right, so let's continue on that conversation. So you went to college. You went to a D2 college. How long did you play? Did you redshirt?
I had redshirt a year. Going out of the spring ball at my redshirt year, I was probably going to see times a third down rush end going into my redshirt sophomore year. Had some family issues occur, had to transfer out of the school because of them. Went to a small school that recently made the Hall of Fame at Kutztown University. Showed up on campus. Now, when I left that school, Mars Hill College, when I left, I was sitting at 225, and I was running a 4.940. And when I showed up at Kutztown, they told me there's no way you can play end for us. You have to play inside on the line. So I said, all right. They said you're going to be a guard. They had smaller guards. We ran kind of a very kind of veer type offense where you would run veer inside and then they would run spread on the outside. And it was
explain what that means, because as a rich rod guy, I understand what the inverted veer is, but like maybe explain to people what the veer means.
All right. So in typical like wing T veer type sets, what you want is guards that can pull and move, and you're never going to block straight up from an offensive line perspective. I'm never going to have a tackle block straight up with the defensive end. What I want is my tackle blocking down, which means taking a step down 45 degrees down the line towards the center and blocking that defensive tackle. Now, I want him to take that tackle and want him to just drive down the line. And what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take that backside guard. He's going to take a drop step, pull down line, right behind the asses of the rest of the offensive linemen so they can't get pushed back. They got to ride those asses, and they got to get out, and he's going to get out to that defensive end that was lined up on that original tackle we talked about and kick him out. And now right there, you have like a trap play or a sweep play, something to the outside, inside, however you want to run it. But the idea is that you have players moving. Your offensive line is moving. And I was quick enough, they felt that inside I could move. And having a player like that is beneficial to teams that can, maybe under-talented, but you can kind of run deception. So that would be the idea there in the sense of make those linebackers make decisions, quick decisions, and fuck them up.
So how much of the line is deception in general? So if we take like a general game, does that change a lot? Like, are you seeing like in high school, there's not much deception; it's pretty straightforward. In college, there's the best of the best teams, or teams in that situation where they need to hustle, they need to figure things out. And then in the pros, does it just become a leveling war between offense and defense? I mean, does shit get crazy?
I think the deception part of football, especially the highest levels, is gone. High school, right. You're going to find everything, man. You're going to find everything. Mm-hmm. There is no typical high school offense because you can go into one conference and they're going to run spread. Then you go to conference right next door, same group of kids, like same size schools and same type of athletes, and they will run the wing T or they'll run like Delaware I and stuff like that where that is a deception offense where you're trying to confuse linebackers. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I think high school, there's just a lack of good coaches.
Yep.
And they get stuck in what they know instead of trying to branch out into newer ideas. So I think that's a problem. But at college, man, college is almost strictly spread. Teams like Florida State that pretend to run pro offenses, it's spread. I mean, they're running spread techniques. Offensive line's doing spread steps.
You coach high school now, right? What do you coach in high school?
I'm offense and defensive line.
So when I'm sure you know a lot of your conference teams, but say you're playing a team you've never played before, what kind of offense or defense could they run that you'd think, oh shit, or bet like I can't, like we're gonna eat them alive?
Dude, I don't want to face single wing. I never want to face single wing again. I faced it a few times when we were going for our back-to-back, three straight state titles undefeated seasons. Yeah, and the teams that gave us the biggest trouble were the single wing teams because the quarterbacks are their best athletes. And when a quarterback's the best athlete in high school, it's fucking scary because typically it's difficult to game plan, especially at high school, someone to spy a quarterback because you just don't do it. You typically run very basic defenses. Mm-hmm. And, when the quarterback's the best athlete, it can cause so much problems. And because especially good quarterbacks at the high school level that can improvise.
Yeah, because this is high school, so plays are breaking down constantly, right? Like these plays are
more so than anywhere else, obviously. I mean, the disciplined high school teams still have their issues, but you have a quarterback that improvises, and you just can't game plan for that. Where in college and I'm sure in the pros, there are ways to cover gaps. Like I will teach gap control on defense forever and always, especially in high school. But man, try and trust a friggin' 16-year-old to control an A gap for 4 seconds.
Is it more difficult that you don't have an athlete yourself to run on scout team to be that quarterback, or is it? Yeah. Well, more to me, what I would like to know is I can picture a single wing offense. What's going on in the trenches that makes it difficult for an offensive line coach or defensive line coach specifically to game plan for? Because you would think that you could set that up with your scout team.
Man, it's so difficult to try and show the deception in practice, even if you're the team that runs it, because if it's your offense and you want to show the team, and you're playing a mirror, which is a team run same offense as you.
Right.
The kids will still react in the same manner because they've seen it all year. It's hard to break procedure. It's hard to break habit. And that's the problem, I think, with football is you create all this habit, all this procedure, and then on game day, it's broken down so much, where when you play other sports such as baseball and basketball, practice isn't the majority, rather it's the minority of time you spend, where football practice is the majority. So you have certain ways that you have to run practice. And then we get into a game and you have told kids how they need to play something.
I was gonna say the highest I got was 10th grade. I played my whole 10th grade year in football. I was a receiver, and then 10th grade I was starting to be like a hybrid receiver tight end because I was getting bigger. 11th grade, the summer between 11th grade and 10th grade and 11th grade, I was pretty full on into pussy and weed. So like, goodbye football. But to me, I mean, the biggest problem that I can remember in getting ready for teams that ran specific offenses was the scout team sucked. And you can run it all you want to, but when you're talking about kids that aren't nearly athletic enough to be doing what the other team's first team is going to be doing, it's almost an exercise in futility where we're just bum rushing the court. It doesn't matter what they do. It was difficult.
Are you actually trying to make a point?
No, I mean just other than scout teams suck, and unless you have
at smaller schools, yeah, you go to a 4A school or one of the top private schools in the country, the scout team players that never see a field are getting Division III, under the table scholarship offers. So you can't actually give money to D3 kids, but they're starting at Mount Union for 4 years.
Mount Union's right up the road from me. I know, yeah.
So it just depends. Awesome. It's just going to depend on, the school you're at. In high school, yeah, smaller schools are not going to have the athletes to match up. But I think go back to what Larry was asking about the changes in the system, is I think high school is just very varied. Where you get to college, you can get to pros, and especially in college is very spread-oriented. And I think that's a big problem with trying to recruit and scout players now, because you're a college coach, and this was part of problems.
Was that a gong?
This part of problems UCF is you're recruiting for spread. Even if we don't run it, you have to recruit for it because that's what half our plays are probably going to end up being. Then they want to go to the NFL, especially on offense, and the NFL can't run spread. The team speed is just too much. The windows just will not be there. You cannot hit those quick slant routes because guess what? We can run zone blitzes in the NFL where defensive tackles can drop into that hook to curl zone real quickly, and that quick slant or that quick curl is not there. So you can't run the spread in NFL, at least not the way that even Chip Kelly wants to run it, because his spread offense is still different than the one he ran at Oregon. So
there's all
I
kinds
think.
of.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Like, you can finish it.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just a matter of, I think you're getting there's just too much talent in the NFL level to actually run that type of offense. So you're still gonna see those typical offenses that we have seen for years.
Let me do Larry's job right now, because there's all kinds of transitions there, and basically everyone, when we said, hey, we're gonna have Needle on, everyone was like, oh goodness, ask him about the draft. So the transition there, I guess you could call it Chip Kelly or off. We kind of want to know, you are our go-to, obviously, for offensive line, and your analysis is top notch. And a lot of people, I don't know if you've even read 2+2 lately. A lot of people miss you, man. How about we just started off by saying best draft picks, worst draft picks, maybe, because there's a lot of topics we got to get to.
Let's do it. Let's go draft. That's a great idea.
Want to go draft?
Let's do it. Let's go draft. So we're going to come back after draft. We're going to come back and talk to Neil about the college days.
Okay.
Right now, let's go draft.
Let me pull up a draft board just so I can have some type of.
But first, before we go draft, how awesome has the 49ers offseason been?
I mean, you have to reload eventually, right? Like, shit's gonna go bad for every team eventually, unless you're fucking Colts.
It can't go
Like-
too much worse, though. I mean, like, in all honesty, if you really were to line out everything that happened to the 49ers, it's pretty much historically elite failure. Getting some autoplay here. I mean, no one has ever. They run one of the best coaches in the league out of town. They lose all their players, and then they head into the draft. And I mean, what can you do? You can't get anything from the draft now.
No, I think
Players
you're committed to Kaepernick, and does everything like when you talk about everything else, your hopes are pretty much on that one player. Like, you have to hope that one player is going to pan out, and there's no reason to think he won't. Like, I don't know why there's such a negative vibe around the player.
Because he's not good.
And what, like, okay, explain that.
Because it seems
This
to
is
me
not
like
good
in the
mean.
first
Explain
year.
that.
In the first year, it's hard to figure out a player. And Kaepernick got off on improvising and doing what he does. Now that defenses are saying, all right, listen, little man, go ahead with your tattoos and figure out a way to beat our zone or to beat our, coverages. He's not real accurate from what I understand. And plus, I mean, really, to me, I'm biased because Harbaugh. Because you just ran out Harbaugh, and now when he wears his Dockers right up to his belly button, he's got a Michigan shirt on and not a 49ers shirt. And to me, God bless the 49ers. God bless whoever kicked him out, because Kaepernick is not going to be good. Do you think – is he good? Where is he at? Is he top 10, top 20, top what? Is he above average as a quarterback?
There's a top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL, and then there's everyone else. That's what it is, right? Like, that's.
Well, you just put him at number 8, is what you're saying.
I don't know if I'm putting him 8. I don't think I'm doing that. That's crazy.
15? Is he higher or lower than 15?
But that we're not putting a number on him right now. Doesn't help the issue. What I'm saying is, okay, your eggs are in one basket right now. I mean, you could lose a Hall of Fame linebacker. Sucks, man. Sucks. Lose a coach that seemingly is pretty good. I think he's too hot-headed. I don't know how long Jim Harbaugh's thing works. It's great it's worked for it when it does, but you know what? You can holler at NFL players a little bit. Eventually, the hollering is not going to work.
You're in your first year as a teacher. Does your principal holler too much, or do they just kind of play the background?
I don't fucking. Do I have a principal? I don't know.
I get it, because principals, to me, I would rather they played the background. You come see me, you get me what you want. Other than that, like, seen and not heard is the best way to go, because if you're up my ass all the time, I'm the kind of person that's probably going to end up being a problem for you. And I'm sure if I had $18 million guaranteed in the bank, I'm sure it'd be 18 million times worse.
All right, on that note, I was able to pull up the
Needle, you're not drunk enough.
All right, let's
clear that.
All right, let's do it, Needle. So, first off, searching for draft results on Google sucks right now. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm having
I don't know why the fuck that was awful, but like the 6th or 7th result finally gave me something here. So, all right, Jameis Winston goes 1. You're not surprised by that at all, I'm guessing?
No. I mean, you have to. Quarterback is name of the game in NFL right now. That's who you're going to draft. Exactly. I don't think you can. You know, what else are you taking? You taking Mariota? I guess, but
you don't want to do that. You don't want to make that mistake and pick the wrong QB.
I don't think you can.
What's the difference between the two, in your opinion? Who's better at what?
Mariota's going to be able to read defense. Winston's going to be able to read defense. He's going to be able to drop back. He's going to be able to get under center. He's going to be able to understand exactly what a cover 2 defense is going to look like pre-snap, and then when they're switching to a cover 1 during his changing of schemes, and then them switching to a cover 3 when he's snapping the ball. I think Winston's going to be able to do that. Where Mariota in college was more, let's read the defensive end, let's read the outside linebacker, let's read that defensive tackle. And that's where my reads are. In the secondary, my reads are linebackers, not corners and safeties. So now making that transition, you've seen other players that have struggled with it. Sam Bradford will not throw deep because he cannot read a safety. He does not know what the safety's doing mid-snap. doesn't know, man. So Mariota, not saying he can't do it, just saying if I'm taking a guy, number one, and my franchise is based off that, let me take the guy that's been doing it for 3 years or however long Winston's been doing it. I guess 2 years for sure. Hopefully 3 years when he was there his freshman year, redshirting. But I want to make sure I've seen those reads been made.
If you had to make an argument for picking Mariota over Winston, what would it be?
Potential. I think Winston's a safer pick. I think Mariota's potential is higher. Because we don't know.
What is Mariota's ceiling then?
In what sense? Like a player?
Or sure. I mean, sure.
A bigger Michael Vick that's not going to run as much but throw better? Like, I don't know. Like, that's player comparisons to me are silly because there's Marcus Mariota. Like, I don't know who the other player is. There's Mariota.
Can Marcus Mariota win a Super Bowl?
Why not?
Can Jameis Winston win a Super Bowl?
Why not?
And how long? And when teams are putting this much, draft stock into quarterbacks, at what year can they realistically expect them to not be someone other than somebody I hope that just doesn't fuck it up along the way? Like third year, second year, fourth year?
I mean, watching someone like Blaine Gabbert play quarterback position, by end of the second year there was no hope. Like there might be people saying end of the first year, but at the end of the second year there is no hope. Like that's it. When you watch someone like Geno Smith play, well, now it's confusing because really they're saying, well, this kid can't do it. That's the conversation. Geno Smith cannot do it. There's no chance of being a good NFL quarterback. That's
really?
end 2013. No, I'm saying like that is 2013 ends. This kid sucks. Move on. 2014 comes. He sucks. Let's move on. Please move on. And then things start like turning. And at the end of the year, you're sitting there going like, wow, is there something here? But I mean, I think end of the second year, you pretty much know. And if the Jets move on from Geno, is anyone really blaming them? So I think 2 years. I don't think you're in a situation anymore where it's 3 years and that's it. I mean, I can't make a rash decision on 1 year because of just how volatile that position is. Like you move on from him. Obviously, he's probably never going to turn anything, but I guess there's that hope that he's going to turn out. But I think I'm not wasting time after 2 years.
How much difference can the change in head coach make to, say, Geno Smith? Is it more the quarterback's coach, the offensive coordinator, or just getting rid of Rex Ryan? Can he see a jump just because of the difference in coaching technique? What would it be? Coaching techniques or?
Well, let's take it back to my playing days. Coaches I talked to today, like I would, if I needed something, there's a list of 3 coaches right now I would call. 2 of them are high school coaches.
The other one's Harbaugh, right?
The other one would be Harbaugh, and I would ask him where near strip club he would go to is. But there were 2 one is a high school coach I played for. The other one's a high school coach that I worked for. The third person I would call, which would be the first person I would call, is my position coach from Kutztown. I think I think position coaches are the most important people in a coaching staff. When they're making their decisions, I think there's a lot put on the head coach. I think there's a lot put on the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, and sometimes even the special teams coordinator. When it comes down to it, the person that's spending the most time with these players, and the person that's watching the most film on all these players, is their positional coach. That's a coach that's breaking everything down. That's a coach that's sitting down when the head coach sits down Monday morning after a Sunday game, the notes that were made by the intern or whoever is watching the tape. Then the person that's commenting on the notes is positional coach. So the head coach, before he even sits down and watches the tape, already has 2 people who have watched the tape and have the notes on them.
So speaking of positional coach and that type of thing, Tebow apparently got Brady's coach and is now coming back. Do you have any hope for Tim Tebow?
Oh my God!
the biggest
my God.
mistake in human
Do
history is
No.
Tim Tebow's mother walking away from an abortion clinic.
Oh, whoa! Wait a minute.
Tim Tebow has no chance.
You just
Dude,
tied a couple.
that motherfucker just needs to
oh
go
my-
away, please.
Oh my God.
I agree.
You
All right,
just-
so let's go back to draft. We talked about the first 2 draft picks. We haven't got any further than that. Who had a good first round? You have this in front of you now?
I do. Obviously, Jets taking Leonard Williams. I thought Leonard Williams was the best player in the draft, and watching more tape, I don't see how anyone outside of that felt could watch Leonard Williams and not want to take him.
Can I ask you a question real quick then?
If it's quick.
Sure. Defensive tackle wise, Leonard Williams. Sometimes defensive tackles are all pro and they're superstars, and you never see them, never hear their names. Sometimes they're Ndamukong Suh or Warren Sapp. Like, which one is he?
He's going to be Starlo Tuilei.
That no one knows. He just
That's
takes
fine.
2 gaps and that's it?
Don't know.
Is that what it is?
The thing what he's going to do is he's going to line up in a three technique position, outside eye of the guard. And what he's going to do is he's going to get off the ball. He's going to attack that outside shoulder of the guard. He's going to do exactly what J.J. Watt does, rip under him or swim over him, and he's going to get that quarterback instantaneously. The reason J.J. Watt is the most valuable player in the NFL is not because of his defensive end. It's because he plays that position over the guard as a D end in a 3-4. So his disruptions on quarterback are instant. And that's the biggest thing that's never said. The reason J.J. Watt is so valuable is because when he gets in the backfield, his disruptions are instant. They're not coming from an outside position like your typical elite outside rushers. There's maybe an extra half second or even second on those outside rushers, where your inside rushers like Starlo Tuilei, Warren Sapp, J.J. Watt, when they get to the quarterback, it's taking away an extra half second from that quarterback's ability to read the field.
How do they not double team? How do they not plan for that?
They do.
Just that good.
Yes. I mean, it's first of all, it's how you engage a defensive tackle. If you're at the D tackle, you engage half a man, which means you do never take on a full player. Like, D tackles tend to be smaller than offensive linemen. Why would you want to sit dead even with offensive lineman and try to take him on strength for strength? It's not going to work. J.J. Watt can't do that. But what J.J. Watt does is he lines up in the gap, and when he engages, he makes sure that his backside that's going to be going to the guy that's trying to double team him is not in a position where the backside tackle or backside guard, whoever's trying to get him, can get leverage on him. So he's going to make himself skinny. You know, he's going to turn his body almost to him, give him a bad angle. And then he's going to engage the person he's on. He's going to make sure that person only gets one good hand on him, typically the right hand, sometimes left hand. But he's not going to allow both hands to get on him. And by doing that, double team's really only a half of each person taking on one full person, right? I mean, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, to me, the best way to handle these guys is running backs. Like, that's how you handle J.J. Watt. It's not double teaming at the line. It's having a good blocking running back that's going to cover up that B gap immediately.
Specific to Leonard Williams, do you actually do you watch games and focus on defensive linemen, or have you actually sat and watched tape of him highlight? And if you do, is it highlights? Is it just full games? What do you do?
I watch full games. To me, highlights are useless.
And you focus on him the whole time?
All right, so you give me a tape, and I'm recruiting. I will not watch highlights. Do not give me a highlight tape. High school players love sending highlight tapes.
Sure, because they take plays off. Sure.
Well, that's not even it. I don't even care. Take as many plays off as you want, because I will coach you up how to play. I mean, that's my feeling. Because as a recruiter, you're looking for talent, especially out of high school kids. Because high school kids, for the most part, are all shitty. I mean, I love them, but they're all shitty. So, you have to look for what you can get. And with that said, I'll watch whole tape. And on Saturdays, when I watch tape, or when I'm watching games, I pretty much will watch line versus line. I will never follow the ball.
Really?
And, yeah, it's too ingrained in me at this point in my life. And NFL's a little different because, especially how the broadcasts are, they almost are just so cued in on it. I mean, if you notice, like an NFL broadcast is tighter screened than a college broadcast.
Sure it is.
And a lot of that has to do also with how NFL lines up. They'll typically have double tight ends or single tight end, where colleges won't, so the broadcast is wider. But because it's tighter, I feel like I follow the ball more in NFL because there's less to see on the TV overall. But which is odd because there's more offensive line. But I think you just end up following the ball because I can't diagnose the play as well when I'm watching NFL games.
Is that what you're doing? Are you watching the NFL to be able to diagnose the play? Like, if you're watching...
Dude, you can't turn it off. I mean, any coach, they're lying to you if they say they're turning it off. You can't be turned off. You just... Right. It's just... I just turn on, and I try, and I try, and I try. That's why when I watch NFL games now, I rarely will leave my house to watch them. Because I almost get frustrated watching them with people because they will want to talk about, oh, the quarterback missed a throw. It's like, no, you didn't see the safety come over the top and the linebacker drop, and it's just like, okay, you know what? Never mind, my bad. Yeah, quarterback missed a throw. You know, I have to like catch myself.
I don't know how much NFL ticket is because I all I do is watch the pitiful Browns.
Not that much.
The NFL, if the NFL offered the all 22 video angle as a package, and it costs X amount of dollars to watch every game from the all 22 Skycam, what is X to you? How much would you pay to see that?
I'm a poor motherfucker.
I mean,
I would probably drop $5 on it.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a reasonable. It has to be like a reasonable price, though. I mean, because it would have.
Yeah, but I mean, if they came to me and said $5, I would do it.
I bet they could charge like $200 for that. If they gave you like
that'd be a heartbeat, man. In a heartbeat.
Gave you like an HD feed that you could access online, and if you could figure out how to run that through your TV or whatever you want to do, cool, that's good for you. But if they gave you like a feed to like 5 awesome cameras at each stadium, each game, I mean that would be a serious product.
Dude, I don't even need the all 22. You can give me because nowadays they have that camera that goes over the field, and it's just like right over the quarterback's head.
That's a sweet idea.
Drop that back about 10 yards and just give me the offensive line. That's all I need. Linebackers, O-line. That's inside drill right there. That's what I like most about football is inside run.
Wow, imagine if they did that. Imagine if the NFL adopted a Madden view.
Oh, God. I don't know. That, to me, that's what I want to see. But
when you think of
I don't think your fan cares about that because those 5 guys in front of the quarterback, their only job is to make sure a quarterback's there next play. That's what the NFL fan thinks. Those 5 guys, just make sure the quarterback's still staying for the next play.
But how many people do you think are like you that just want to watch the line in the inside play? Like, let's say, 100,000 people in the country. No. NFL wants to monetize everything. I don't understand why you can't pay for certain picture packages.
I think it's more than you think. I mean, because think about it. The times you go to a game and you're with someone who's never been to a game before in person, I feel like everyone gets sucked into like watching one guy for like a whole drive. You know what I mean? You'll watch like a D end or like someone will. People appreciate that because it's a fluid event. Like you can watch them go off the field, come back on the field, or you can watch wide receivers for the first time. You actually realize that's a position versus the TV, but I feel like if they had that more of an experience like the Madden view or something like that, it seems like it would be incredibly awesome for the product, and I don't see how people would not be driven to that.
I would love if that was the case. To me, you were talking earlier about how I don't post on 2+2 anymore. I don't, and a lot of it's because I got tired of being shit on, and I'm tired of fucking nonsense.
You name names? Are you able to name?
No, that's not who I am. Not fucking doing it.
What? What do they sound like?
My 2+2 was days where, we had intelligent discussion, and there was the wanting of knowledge, not the fucking game day threads that are just complete fucking nonsense. And I would post them, and I would just get fucking PS for people. It's like, what the fuck you doing, dude? It's like, all right, suck my cock, fuck you. I think I just got tired of that shit. And if that's the people that are taking time out of day to log onto the internet forum and post on it, you're trying to tell me there's more people out there that actually do? No.
I think
my Triple S 2 is like Poker Fink and Jeff W. Like those guys that like gave analysis.
That's not the draw. That's not the draw. The draw to me, for most people on being a message board is you can say and do the things. You can say the things that you wouldn't in normal life. You know, there's no way that Dr. Ikes is really engaging
Joe, I don't want to hear that name again, dude.
In getting mad.
I definitely don't see people like him in my everyday life. I'll give you that.
I'm not mad. It's just my time is valuable to me, especially now. So I don't need to waste it with that shit.
Can I link? I was gonna say speaking of drugs, just because Wifer's blowing weed smoke at me. Randy Gregory and how you say this cat's name, Lyle Collins.
Yeah.
They both end up at Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're both D linemen, right?
No.
How's that gonna go? Or how?
One's the offensive lineman, goes to the defensive end.
How's that gonna go for him?
With the weed smoking? I'm sure Dallas got some good weed, dude.
Are they gonna be steals? I mean, the Collins didn't even get drafted.
Lyle Collins is a steal and a half. Like he doesn't. This draft's today, or yesterday, last night. Dude's going to the Giants at 10.
Really?
Yeah. That's just how that is.
We need Hoya to get on here for his lawyerly comments about he should be able to get some money off the chick.
Nino, I got a question for you on this topic. Why wouldn't you draft him? Why would you throw him a late round draft choice?
Hell yeah.
Are you worried about
because of him not signing? I think that's what it is. I just think you're afraid of him not signing and entering draft next year. That's what at least the reports say.
Yeah, but that's not worth a 6th or a 7th?
Well, here's two things. First of all, NFL's PR has been fucking awful this year. When it comes just sit down, Ray Rice, piece of shit, apparently loved.
I think Goodell is just an asshat. I think if you get rid of him, they're probably in totally good shape. And I mean, even think about what the camera angle we were just talking about. There's definitely room to increase the product by
absolutely
triple digits. I mean,
absolutely.
We're still talking about early growth here if you do it right.
Yeah. So all right. So we're talking about the players, though. I get maybe a 7th round pick, but I think you just don't want the backlash from your fan base, especially when it comes out a week later after you draft him. Oh, by the way, this dude's a murderer, and the Carolina Panthers drafted him. Carolina Panthers are a team that supports murderers, by the way. So don't root for them. Like that, I feel like that's where you're sitting there, and the owner's sitting there going, you know what? Not worth it. There's players that we have that are equal value to him in the first round, and after that, fuck it, not dealing with it.
Maybe that's the difference between me and a billionaire, though, because I'm thinking, man, these guys from the gutter, they're worse. If you're buying them at gutter prices, fuck it.
To us, that's great saying it that way, but I don't know if the actual conversation happening in the draft room is that. It's a lot easier to sit here and say I should have drafted them than have to walk in front of the podium and say to your fan base, sorry, we drafted a murderer.
Not to keep losing it.
What has changed, though?
When they are talking about it in the draft room, are they not that you would know, but take a guess, are they more worried about the locker room dynamic or the fan dynamic? If you're drafting somebody like Randy Gregory or Collins or whoever else, Josh Gordon.
I think
they don't worry about fans, I would guess, right?
No, you're not, except in case of you drafting a murderer.
Yeah.
Someone that's currently in the middle of a murder investigation probably does not get drafted.
Right.
Someone that's smoking weed or is dumb enough to get caught with weed on them on Monday, the week of the draft. Okay, I personally will walk in front of your fan base and tell them, all right, we think we can fix this dude. But if I use a pick on a murderer, and I'm not willing to walk in front of any cameras and say, sorry guys, drafted a murderer, my bad. I'm not doing that.
If Aaron Hernandez did not happen, would that still have been as big a deal?
Wait, I'm sorry, repeat?
If Aaron Hernandez had not recently been convicted, do you think that it would have been as big a deal?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
We all know Ray Caruth. I mean, Ray Lewis gets jokes about being a murderer himself.
I mean, he just tells people how to get away with some crimes and cover up some things on ESPN.
Right.
No big deal.
I feel like murder is a completely
I'll hang
a topic that is just let's not, you know what I mean, like as an owner, let's not touch that one.
I have a
Leave
pretty
that guy
wide
by
variety
himself.
I have a
There
pretty
needs
wide
to be a
variety
law.
of friends. Like, I'm not hanging out with people that did 8 years for manslaughter. Like, I'm sorry that, you know, I have a Facebook friend that I grew up with. Listen, he threw somebody from a moving vehicle at 50 miles an hour. He did 10 years. He wants to hang out every once in a while, and I'm just kind of always find something else to do. You know, like it's not like I'm afraid of dying, but when somebody has shown the propensity to kill somebody, I'm just kind of doing something else.
And here's the thing, like I watched Leo Collins play, and first of all, Les Miles came out a couple of years ago and said he's not putting his name by Leo Collins because Collins was an asshat at LSU before this.
Les will do anything too.
Well, I'm just saying Les wasn't putting his name with Collins a year or two ago. He wasn't interested in talking about him then. So I mean that's a flag to me when the head coach doesn't want to talk about you. With that said, when you watch him play, and we're talking about schemes in the NFL nowadays earlier, you know, the NFL is moving to a very kind of mixed scheme with one of them being zone. Leo Collins is one of the best zone blockers in college. But Collins is one of the best zone blockers I've watched in college. So the value with that is the fact that you have a big dude that can probably teach the block downhill, and then you have someone that can zone block. Like that's what the NFL wants right now of a tackle. So the fact that he's that good and teams pass on him tells me that as a group, like either this is the Barry Bonds situation where no one was saying Barry after the whole situation happened, or they're actually like, listen, like we can't involve ourselves with this type of stuff because we've seen what's happened over the past year. Let's just not deal with a murder.
All right, so
I was going to say on Fans Gregory. When it comes to Gregory, he's a player I hate. Like I hate the players that avoid contact. But you know, I guess potential. You know, you talk to people that watch the draft from 2+2 like Vic Decatur, and they love these players that show a lot of athleticism. But I mean, maybe it's a coach to me. But if I watch you and you're scared of getting touched, like, why do I want you on my team?
Man, that sounds like drama right there. Like, so you disagree with Vic's and on a basic level where you want to tell me more about that.
Oh, I mean, you could talk to those guys about this all you want, too, because they know that my opinions of players are much different than theirs. They fucking jizz all over the guys that show potential. That's great, but when my team's drafting, give me a guy that's a safe pick in the NFL that hopefully I can coach up to be beyond. Like, there's like always the thing like, oh, he's touched his ceiling in college. That's bullshit. He's 22 years old. There is no fucking ceiling in college, man. He's 22. You have no idea how this dude's going to mature for the next 5 years.
On
the fact that he's showing the potential he has right now and being as pure, like Bjorn Warner a few years ago, I was big on him. And they put him in a terrible spot, by the way, outside linebacker. And now he's mixing it up. But, you know, I loved watching him play because he was sound. And I was like, well, he's already peaked. Well, what? He's 22, 23. Like, what do you mean he peaked? Like, I hate that stuff. Like, they're 22 years old. Tell me a 22-year-old peaked? Man, if I peaked at 22, life was shitty. You know?
No, you peak at certain things. To me, there's a couple things I probably peaked at. I mean, athletically, for non-athletes maybe, but like these guys, now that they're in a system where professionals are training them.
You can't say that forever, though. Like, you can't say that you're not going to just like decide to go hard and run marathons in 5 years. You may not.
There's no way. There's no way.
Like, you can athletically get better as you go older too. Like, yeah, I completely agree with that.
On the record, between like judging based on what they gave up to get them and where they went in the draft, like Melvin Gordon or Todd Gurley, because both of them have pretty. I was kind of impressed that teams are like, oh my God, you're drafting running backs. Melvin Gordon, you know, he styled on the Big Ten, and Todd Gurley, I guess to be honest with you, I don't know that I've seen him play 10 seconds because it's the SEC and nobody in the North watches the SEC and he's always hurt. But what do you think about like who's going to have the better pro career and who got the better of the deal, I guess.
I don't remember the exact trades. I don't think.
Chargers moved up to get him, right?
But they moved up like 2 spots, right? The Rams moved. Wait, no, Rams drafted Gurley at their spot.
And they have a whole stable of running backs. Like what's that about?
And then the Chargers moved up. Okay.
Rams drafted a running back at 10 overall when they had 2 probably above average running backs to begin with. What's going on there, Needle?
I'm definitely not in the camp that running backs are useless. I know that's kind of a thing, especially with the forum, that they are completely about running backs being useless. I do not agree with that theory whatsoever. Because anyone that's watched a football game can tell you when you watch Marshawn Lynch play, at least over the past couple of years, then you watch like Kobe Gerhart run, there's not difference there. Well, obviously, like, you know, there's going to be some. Well, no. There's differences in running backs, and you have some ones that are very elite, and you can run behind those guys. The NFL,
what are the skills that make them elite? It's vision. It's
okay.
Vision more than it's intangibles more than measurables, right?
Yes. If we're running back, most likely that would be true. But it was when you have both, especially for running back, and I think Gurley has that. You know, Gurley's vision is tremendous. I mean, you watch him at Georgia, and the Georgia offensive line is not making holes for him, yet he's finding them. Like there will be holes, kind of intermittently. He finds it now. He's making a linebacker miss, which is now that measurable part, right?
Right.
And the intangible part was him finding the hole initially. So he finds the hole. That's the intangible. Then he gets to the second level and makes the linebacker miss. There's your measurable. Now he's run down the sideline going, oh shit. You know. So I get it's college players. And to me, like, it's like when you watch Reggie Bush play. And when you watch Reggie Bush play, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Arkansas game where they won like 70-3. And what he did in that punt return and made like 13 different people miss on one punt return, like that right there is like, okay, that's what put Reggie Bush as number 2 pick or number 3 pick in the draft. Okay, I got it. And Gurley has those same type of plays. And if Gurley's not torn ACL, he's probably going Jacksonville, number 3? Like, that's my guess. That's what Jacksonville's doing. And
what's the difference between then him and Trent Richardson? Because I remember being pumped, like, hey, because it's hard as a Browns fan to get excited about anything. And we draft linemen this year, okay, fine. Like, I feel like that's Ray Farmer saying you can't judge me for 2 or 3 years because you can't judge linemen. But when they traded up to get Trent Richardson, I don't know. Like, what's the difference? Like, I not watching them in college, I don't know the difference, but I just know big-time running back, sweet. Give me him.
Did Richardson even catch passes in college?
I don't know. Did he?
I think he had like a total
of 1 or 100. I don't know.
No, I think he caught like 40 or 60 catches in college. Like, I don't know. The difference between Gurley and Richardson, I think, comes down to talent they're around. And Richardson was playing with some of the most amazing offensive line talent against typically low-level D-line talent in the SEC at that time. I mean, yeah, you have some elite players, but overall, I don't think the SEC had great defensive line talent. And linebacker talent wasn't there either. If I might be misremembering, but I feel like a lot of the defensive talent in the SEC was on the outside and not inside. And Richardson pounded the hell out of inside and made a career in college out of beating the hell out of those players.
With a boss offensive line.
Right, with the best offensive line college has seen in the past decade. Now, you know, Gurley did not have that same luxury. And I think the SEC interior-wise is a little better right now. No, actually that's probably incorrect too. But Gurley did not have the offensive line. But Gurley also was returning kicks. Gurley is also the player that you can line up on the outside. I think Gurley is more of a player that you can kind of game plan with, where Richardson needs to kind of game plan around.
How good does Gurley have to be this year? Well, put it another way, how many running backs would you, for this particular year, take above Todd Gurley?
One
year season, how many running backs, and maybe not name them, but a number, how many running backs did you take above Todd Gurley?
Probably, top of my head, probably 10. I mean, he's coming off ACL injury. I don't know what the hell Gurley's gonna give me. I have no
idea. Assuming health, then you're projecting for year 3 where he's top 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see him being up there. I don't see why not. I don't understand. I don't get where he couldn't be. Like that, there's nothing out there that tells me he can't. Like, there's nothing watching tape outside of that knee injury. Nothing watching tape suggests that he is not, because the way he runs and as physical as he can be with the speed he has, like, why can't he be that running back that's special? Which is the complete opposite of how I feel about Gordon, by the way. Because I watched Gordon play, and I don't know what the hell. Like, Yeldon, Gordon, like, whoa. No, I'm not drafting in the first 2 rounds.
Shout out to T. Shue over there in Nebraska, because, golly, he knows why Melvin Gordon got picked, because Nebraska stunk. But in the end, that's what that Wisconsin does. Like, it's not Wisconsin's running backs, and they're the ones that get the credit. It's Wisconsin's line. Joe Thomas, listen, my boy Joe Thomas is the only good player the Browns have. And the same as Winston and Mariota, when he got drafted, my boy said, I'm not going to the draft. And when they said, where are you going to be at? I'm going to be fishing in fucking Minnesota somewhere with my dad. He didn't care, because that's what the Wisconsin cats do. And Ron Dane ran behind him, and all these guys run behind him. I don't know. Like, Melvin Gordon seemed like he's okay. I just don't know. You seem like you're a little bit higher on running backs than everybody else. To me, the way it is in 2015, it doesn't seem like you trade up to get Melvin Gordon.
I don't like that at all, personally. But then again, you know, when it really comes down to it, I hate talking about the draft, because
you're the draft. Needle, you're the draft.
I don't like it, man. I prefer to talk about football. Like, the draft isn't football to me. It's tearing apart.
That's a perfect segue, because I think it is time to talk about football, actually. So, all right, Needle. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about this. Wiper probably knows a lot more. There's probably more on this too. But from my limited understanding, you are not allowed to coach in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was...
You, at one point, be removed.
There was one point in my life where I had to make multiple trips to certain places, one of them being Indianapolis, sitting in front of the board of people, and have a conversation.
Talk about that experience. Situation. What are you guys doing? Are you dirty right now? Are you feeling the heat on you at all? Are there conversations?
Oh no, that has. I moved on from that. That situation's been resolved. I've been absolved of all things, which is completely true. I was a scapegoat for a program that...
You know it all?
No.
The record.
Really, let him go. Yeah, let him go. Like, go ahead.
What came down to it was there was a child that I was recruiting in a process, and during the same process, the basketball coach at a certain university was potentially doing things that weren't correct. And the golf program was doing things that weren't correct. So the program was under watch. And a child that I was in the process of recruiting was on the sidelines, and something was handed to him.
So unnamed program?
It was on.
Are you allowed to name this, or?
It's Coastal Carolina.
Ooh. Okay, Carolina. I actually know that school a lot. That was like the school you went to if you were too dumb to get into a state school, I think.
I think that's how it works. Actually, yeah. But there's like a video that I have not seen, or and the exchange of potential money between a booster and a recruit. The recruit happened to be mine, and something led to another where I was the one that kind of pushed it along. Out of my knowledge completely. I was a grad assistant that was involved in the recruiting process for multiple kids, but I was doing a lot more. And like this one kid, I wasn't only a recruit for him. I wasn't only a recruiter.
Now, were you the liaison, or were you like more of a point of contact?
A contact, like that. Definitely not having. I did not have Like, I wasn't traveling to see his child, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He would call, and when he came to school, I'm the one that gave him the tour around campus.
Okay.
You know, so that was my commitment pretty much to this recruit.
This is
Because
fucked up.
as a grad assistant, your responsibilities are random, and then, you know, recruiting, there's some stuff, and I was involved in it, and I loved it, because that's what it is. Undergrad, too, after I got hurt, and, you know, there's just, like, it's a process that I really love the recruitment process, because it's building up kids rather than putting them down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like recruitment a lot more than the draft.
A cool way to look at
Something
it.
the draft is putting people down, whereas recruitment, I'm building someone up. Because you fall in love with what you watch on tape, and then you meet these children, and they have so much to offer, and you want them to succeed. So that's why I like the recruitment process so much more, because I'm offering something that they otherwise sometimes will not get. Long story short,
You're partying, kids partying with
I'm
basketball players, boosters,
dropping bills. I'm been junging it up at strip clubs,
Nice.
and I'm the fall guy for, well, me and a couple others for the program. And what ends up happening is because someone scoops in this kid's ear that Coastal Carolina is going to get the death penalty because of this stuff going on, so he backs out of his letter of intent.
NBA?
By,
or not NBA, because of basketball? Or
because of the other athletic programs, basketball and golf being the most.
At what point are you realizing, oh, fuck, like, they're going to pin this on me?
Yeah, how did it get
like,
caught? So
when was it? Like March-ish? Like, everything's fine. It's like, now it's like March-ish of 2011? 2011? 4 years ago now? Yeah. It's like March-ish 2011, and I get like a random phone call saying I can't show up on campus anymore. What? Like, I'm taking classes. Like, I have to be there. What are you talking about? And, you know, things are, like, being told to me, and I moved the head coach, and he's like, listen, you know, this is going to get resolved. Don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. A month later, you know, I have to resign from my position. I have to go to Indianapolis on a...
What led to that? What led up in that month? Were you hearing anything? Were they giving you like the silent treatment?
And you're a student.
I was a student. Like, pretty much, I'm going to class. You know, like I'm doing the things I need to do. Like, you know, I'm doing some student teaching. I'm doing some stuff. Like, I'm a graduate student. I'm getting a master's degree. Like, that's what they're paying me to do.
Not a big deal.
You know. So yeah, like, I'm just like, whatever. Like, you know, tell me when this is handled, because the head coach is telling me everything's fine. I'm 22 years old. Like, what do I know? You know, I'm just this dumb kid that everything.
Did you know of the accusation at that point?
I trust him because I've worked with him for, 6-7 months now. Like, sure, everything's fine. And then, like I said, April comes around. I have to resign. I have to go meet the NCAA. I still don't completely understand what's going on. And I'm in Indianapolis with a lawyer that I had to pay with my own cash. And, like, sitting in front of, like,
that's old.
4 old white guys and this old white bitch.
So let's talk about it a little bit. Talk about what is the place like? You get there. I mean, I haven't ever been to these buildings. What is the situation?
I mean, it's like any other office building. Like,
I'm picturing crusty white people.
That's what it is. Like, I mean, that's what it's literally like, it's like I'm in an office and then a executive office.
Okay.
And there's 2 tables. I'm sitting at one of them. A couple people are sitting there. There's a couple there on the other table, and it's just kind of like talking back and forth. It wasn't like anything. Like, I didn't even feel like I was at risk. I just knew I had to have a lawyer, and I knew I had to. Like, this whole process was so fucking fucked in the head. I have no idea. Like, to this day, it's a blur, and I still don't understand what happened.
How does it affect you now?
It's non-existent. Like, because after 2 years of fighting it finally came out and said, like, oh, by the way, nothing happened. But I was blackballed and blacklisted, and I couldn't, like, a friend of mine was coaching a Division III school, and they hired me.
By who? Who? Like the Coastal Carolina?
No, by the NCAA itself. And they received phone call and a letter in the mail saying, do not hire this individual, this, and this, and if you hire him, you'll be on probation.
So can you get back at that? Do you have any
kidding me?
legal means of rectifying yourself?
Sure, and then I can't coach college football ever again.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, but you know what?
got you. You're
We
not
can go get him though.
$10 million payday, so.
I don't even know if it would be that. I mean, their lawyers are going to be a lot better than any lawyer I can get. It's a
They're
fight
good.
that someone
They're
has
good at this kind of
brought
thing.
to my attention. I don't think it's one I can win. And I have no interest in doing it.
I got 3 guns in my garage. I'm sitting in my garage right now, man. Like, I got some scopes. Let's go get them, man. Like,
So did you talk to me 4 years ago, around this time 4 years ago?
No, I can talk to you after we're done recording.
No, but I'm saying if you had talked to me 4 years ago, like maybe we're having a conversation. It's a different one. But now, man, I think like I coached high school for 2 years, and they were rewarding years, and it kind of reminded me how the whole process needs to be. And then I went to UCF, and probably the best year of my life was at UCF.
And what were you doing there?
I was a offensive quality control coach.
Okay.
What's that mean?
Which then became a defensive quality control coach.
What's that mean?
What that means is I was the guy that was recruiting. I did tape work. I did stuff like that. I worked like the notes. You would watch a play. You'd make notes on it. Was it a plus-minus play? Okay, then I would hand to the positional coach, and he would make the comments. Like pretty much like that was half of my job, and the other bigger half of it is recruiting.
And by that time, you weren't a student anymore. That was your job.
No, my full-time job was coaching.
Am I allowed to ask what you got paid for that?
Not much.
That's just a stepping stone.
I think if I remember correctly, my salary was $14,000.
Holy fuck.
I didn't pay rent or for food, or there were certain things I didn't pay for because
That's not bad. Now you're up to like
there were concessions made, and
wow,
probably things that aren't NCAA legal.
And how old were you when you did that?
26.
So are you looking to get back into that?
Probably next year. I'll be turning 30 next summer. I'll probably be coaching college next year.
Being
Have you been
26
looking already? Do you have feelers out right now?
I did. The big thing was like after I left UCF, the thing was that the position they offered me was the same exact position when I left UCF. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's do the whole thing. Part of the reason I ended up at UCF was I was going to ECU to do a similar position, and UCF, a friend of mine, had called and goes, "Listen, I know that coach. I played for him. Why don't you talk to him, see the position that they want to offer you and what they're going to have you do?" At ECU, I was going to pretty much be nothing with recruiting. So I went down to UCF with my contract in hand with ECU and just said, "Listen, the only way I'm going to come here is if I can recruit." And he goes, "The only reason there's a position available is because our graduate assistant from last year, that was a former player, actually a good job at Troy. And now we have an opening. You're the first person that was recommended to us. Talk." So I talked to Coach O'Leary, and I told him my story with Coastal. I told him what I did the past 2 years in high school. And I left, and within about 15 minutes of leaving, I had a phone call from him telling me, "Don't get on the plane back to Greenville, North Carolina. Just stay here."
Fantastic.
Nice.
So I said, "Okay, I'm going to stay here. I told you what I want to do. If you give me that stuff, I'm good." And they did. They did everything for me. And Coach O'Leary is the one that went through the whole process to clear everything that was on my resume with NCAA. He did all that. I mean, I know there's a stigma with him, and he made a mistake, and people hate him for it. Maybe 2 big mistakes, and that's fine. But that man truly is a person that I look up to and helped a lot with how I feel. And he's the one that actually had a job at USF for me. The rival UCF had lined me up with the same position I had at UCF and I just didn't want to live because I wasn't gonna have the same concessions for me with the rent and food and all that stuff for me. So I was making $14,000 and have to live off of it. I was like, I can't do that. Like it's not something I could do now. And I know people do that, and the reason you do it is in hopes that the next year, you're a coach on the staff. Yeah, right. You start at the ground floor. And I was going to be 27 years old, and I was just like, listen, or I was going to be 28 years old. I was like, I need something I need to put money away before I can do this. So I've been putting money away this year, I'm putting money away next year, and then I'm going to do it.
So what does the future hold for you, Nito? Is this what you want to do? You want to keep just grinding out football as far as you can take it? Yeah,
I think that's the route I'll take. I don't want to be 40 years old and say I could have. I want to be 4 years old and say I fucked up, or 4 years old and say it's worked. Like I just don't want to say I could have.
And where are you at 40 if it worked?
College, hopefully positional coach somewhere. Ideally, I don't care if it's Division I. I don't care if it's Division II. I don't care if it's Division III. I just want to be a positional coach. Typically,
but once you're cleared of everything, like you said you have,
mm-hmm.
At some point, aren't you overqualified for essentially everything you do until you're not? I mean, if you're looking at being a position coach at Division I school, offensive or defensive line or interior or whatever it is, if you're at a high school or D3 or D1 AA or whatever they call it now, don't you just continually move up the ladder because you outcoach your position, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean,
seems like a very upward trajectory type of job, like where you're either good and go up or you're not.
A lot of it also is who you know. Like, I don't get the UCF job unless randomly a guy I play football with is on the staff.
But once you get it,
he wasn't even on the football staff. He was on the baseball staff. Like it was just like, listen, I know the head coach. Talk to him. I think a lot of it's contacts, and especially football, it's a boys' club. And I had gotten out of it, and now I'm back in it in a very low place. But there are current NFL coaches that I can text right now and talk to, which is somewhere I was never at before, and it's kind of cool, But I have those contacts now, and I think that's where my life will go beyond this. But, my family just doesn't have money to support me, and I have to find that money, and then I can begin this. I think that's the problem.
LeBron James just dunked in Joakim Noah's face. And
did his dick pop out?
Listen. If it did, Joakim Noah would have had to lick the tip just now, man. And he got a technical too for talking shit. Good for him, man.
There you go.
Fuck yeah.
First game.
Listen, Leo Tolstoy and Bulls fans, like they are the NCAA of this series to me.
Yeah, they did win. That's quite true.
Go ahead, Larry. Tell me where I'm going next, unless you're closing out.
I don't know, man. I don't know where we should go, man. What do you want to talk about? That was an awesome story. I didn't know the full story there. So I don't know. I mean, I guess in general, it's
needle
situation. But what do you think's going to happen? I mean, do you think are they going to eventually pay players here? I mean, it doesn't feel like. I feel like we're going to either be. I mean, what's a good debate here? Is it driverless cars? NCAA players? Is that like a? Are we both at the same point with both of these things right now?
They're gonna get paid. It's a conversation I've had with a few people that it's being done, so let's just do it legally.
So what can you do? You can do what? You can do merchandise. So you can do all jersey sales. You can do like the NFL does. Take jersey sales, put the players' names on them, put the players' shit on them. And then what? Do you spread that money evenly in a conference? Maybe you give it to the team that has the player. I think
isn't Title IX the problem? Isn't Title IX the problem? Like women's
volleyball? Yes. The big problem is trying to find a way to give those, not even just Title IX. I mean that's what people want to say, but it's not. It's the soccer program at NC State. Like let's get them money because when they're hosting a home game in mid-September, they're getting 15 people to show up. And
you know what, though? Who cares? Like, how expensive can that really be to run that team? You don't need
it's
to
law. It's laws and shit.
It's not just that though. It's hiring referees. It's hiring the staff to work the stadium. It's hiring the security on there. It's hiring the people to do the parking. Like, this stuff actually does start adding up cost-wise. And I think almost every NCAA sport that's not basketball or football or in certain schools across is like a huge net negative. Like,
So, all right, so let me ask the question then. So, how come the free market can't work in this example? Like, how come you couldn't just have schools that don't run girls soccer, and then the girls
because law. Because law. That's
well,
that.
I know the law.
we're going into a world that I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause I'm just saying, it's like, wouldn't it exist that then, I mean, girls that are getting 4.0s and want to go play soccer, I mean, there's definitely schools that would be willing to offer that for them.
Because if you offer it for men, you have to offer it for women, and regardless of whether or not the women make money or lose money or whatever, they still have to have, like Needle said, a staff and facilities and things like that.
So why not let players enter into contract directly? Let them go straight to EA.
That's what it comes down to.
NCAA 20.
Well, now we're having 18-year-olds negotiate. I mean,
right.
a lot of the reasons I was against paying in the first place is I don't think it's going to be fair to the kids. I think they're going to get fucked by this.
Clearly they are.
That's why I was against it for so long, and I got a lot of flack for that. And as I've got to know the kids more and more, they will get fucked by this. Like, this is not going to work. Like, it's not. It's going to be nice when a few of them get the paychecks, but when it comes down to it, it's not. The kids are going to end up being the ones that are going to suffer. And it's
suffer more than now?
It's going to be, yeah, I think they're, like,
I went to college.
Listen, man, you live to your means, right?
$20, man. Give me $20.
No, I know where Neil's going with this. I mean, he's right. I mean, it's one of the reasons why they're not going to do it anytime soon, because it's going to take them a really long time to lawyer this through and figure out exactly how they're going to divvy up this money. And as soon as that does get involved, I mean, that's a huge amount of power, and that's, a huge long-term revenue source, however they figure it out, with who knows how much legal problems down the road. So it's going to take them a long time, but trust me, they're going to worry about number one when they finish.
I mean, just to bring it back to 2+2, like, I vaguely remember a conversation, I think it was with Das Boot on 2+2, about, like, listen, they're adults, like, they can do what they want. It's like, that's fine, but when I sit in a living room and I talk to your mother and I talk to your grandmother or whoever I'm talking to, and I'm telling you, I'm going to protect this child when he comes. Like, I will be the person that protects them when they come to your school. Or we will be as a program where it protects them when they come to the school. I mean, and then have this situation rise where this kid's 18 years old, he thinks he's the next pro athlete, first-round pick, and his first check comes in. It's for $5K. He earned it. He goes and gets a credit card, or he has to do, ends up, and I'm not saying they couldn't do this anyway, but, ends up rising up debt in college, and then he comes out of college, maybe suffers an ACL injury or whatever in college, and never gets drafted. Now we have a kid that I sat in the living room and told their mother, I'm going to protect them. And then within 6 months of them coming to school have already accrued debt. I get it. I know
that's got to be a very specific issue, right? I mean, like, the general issue isn't that. Because you're talking about education in general. When, I teach a middle school kid and a middle school kid, and I go to their parents' house and say, listen, I'm giving you my cell phone number. Just call me. I'm going to keep an eye on them. And then they get into a fight in the bathroom. That's, at some point, that shit got nothing to do with me, and they're 13.
No, but
they're not even 19.
I think it's different. Being on both sides of it, like, sitting down with our recruit this year, a kid that ended up going to a 1AA school that had offers to 1A but didn't want to leave home. I've been on both sides of this a few times now. And, when you're talking to a middle school kid, what options does he have? It's this middle school. Like,
Nothing.
okay, maybe his mom can get up and drive him somewhere else, but I know where I'm at. That's not that's not an option. Like, that bus shows up in front of your house. That's your only option. That kid
Sure.
has no other option. Is that bus or no bus? Because there is no car to take him anywhere else. Like, that's where I work.
That's everywhere.
I don't.
I mean,
I don't think-
and
I don't
what
think
I'm
that's
offering, I
everywhere.
mean,
So to extend this,
but I'm offering when when you come to school, you can like moms text me. I have like there's 10 or 15 parents who call me regularly and say like what the fuck is going on and whatever, just because they don't want to go through the bureaucracy of calling the office. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you saying I'm going to take care of the kid and the kid getting a credit card based on future earnings. You wasn't sitting there when you signed it. So
Yeah,
at
but-
some point, and
but-
plus
No,
they're 18,
but-
19 years
it's
old.
he's exposing him to a bad situation. I mean, he's bringing him into a world of hurt where every door he opens could be a trap behind it.
Listen, I want the
Bad.
kids to be paid. I want them to receive what they've earned.
But how ridiculous is it going to be? I mean, dude, imagine players being allowed to get paid. I mean, what are you going to have? You're going to have the Crimson Tide host like a strip club party for like 4
But that's
What are they gonna do?
that's a conversation I was talking about earlier. I was having with a college coach right now. This about could have been more than a month ago, and it was about these kids are getting it anyway, and we can't stop it because we try. Like, that is God's honest truth. We don't want that because it's opening doors to places we don't want them to be. Like, we're coaches. We're pretty anal about what our kids do in their free time.
How come
But the door's unlocked anyway.
And-
How come boosters are allowed just because the alumni can give money straight to the booster? And so, I mean, like, what can you do? I mean, you can't really stop it.
It can't be stopped, and it's not going to be. Like, it's
I
just
mean, this is America.
no way it can be
That's like,
stopped.
you're not stopping that.
I mean, you show up on campus, and when the second or third string running back is driving a car that's more expensive than one I got, and I'm sitting there going like, well, what the fuck? Like, where did this come from?
That's not a
this-
recent development.
No,
that's
but
been going on forever.
That's why
Eric
I was saying,
Dickerson-
like,
Eric
that's the
Dickerson,
conversation I was
baby.
having with this coach about, let's just do it. Let's just make it out there.
Right.
So maybe it can be controlled in
Right.
some manner, and we can find ways to control the kids in a better manner because we'll know what they have. So maybe we can make deals with these clubs or these bars and figure some stuff out. Like, I think that's what the problem is right now is we can't do that at the college level because if you do that now, you're violating certain.
They can't even
That's
do it at the pro level. Like, I think I
Right.
saw a report from ESPN, I forget where it was, that, like, since the NFL created, like, a financial advisor program, those financial advisors have stolen, like, $250 million from players. At the NFL level. I mean, the NFL is giving this guy a certification, which, I mean, if the NFL is certifying a financial advisor and you're trusting them, yes, that's really fucking stupid of you. However, still, when you get paid a ton of money by the NFL, you probably tend to believe that they're good with money, or at least, they would try and give you good advice.
Right, like, yeah, like, especially when you're 21, 22 years old. Hey, these people that are hiring me are telling me this is the thing to do, so, okay, I'll do it.
You
So
teach at a high school, right?
It's in middle high school, but yeah.
Do they have and it's in South Carolina? Do they have financial, like, is financial literacy a requirement now to graduate?
No, but my kids don't have money, so I don't have to worry about it.
No, I mean, financial literacy ain't about people with money. It's about people that don't have money. In Ohio, like, I think
They literally don't have, like, their money is like wick stamps, like, that's what they got.
oh, homie, listen, I teach in the inner city of Youngstown, man. I understand, like, and
I'll
maybe
give me inner city all day, bro. Rural is a different world. Give me
Rural
inner
poor,
city
yeah.
all day.
I
Rural
got-
poor is a
Rural is different, yeah.
But I mean,
It's hopeless, man, for a lot of people. It's sad to say. but-
it's intergenerational hopelessness. Like, it's crazy.
yeah, but you teach them. I mean, instead of taking one last social studies class, it's
Like, dude, there aren't even games and shit.
Memorize state capitals. Teach them to not fucking get credit cards, or teach them.
But they can't.
Like,
Can't even
this
get
is how you write a check.
Dude, I want to teach them that there is something beyond God. Let's start with that. I am worried about. Let's worry about teaching them something beyond God, because to them, there is nothing beyond God. Like, it's God, Jesus, and then like my mom.
Holler at them then, man. Like, just pat them on the butt and tell them good luck.
Yeah.
And we try to teach the whole child. Or so I'm told.
No, I mean, not if you want to keep your job. You don't. I mean, not if the parent, the parents have anything to say with it. You just pat them on the ass and say, yeah.
I mean, I just, if I got $1 for every time asked me if I was a Christian, I would have been like, I'd be out of school, man.
How do you answer that question?
I tell them I believe in what I believe in, and it's not their business.
See, I mean, kids ask me that. I say, I believe there's clearly a God, and God's a mathematician. I mean, do you go to church? No, I don't go to church. Why not? Because I don't feel like I have to go to church, because God can listen to me anytime, right?
Dude, if I said that to these kids, I would be ostracized, and they would hate me.
Yeah.
Dude, this is their
because
lives.
You don't go to church?
Yeah, man. Their lives is Sunday church, Monday night church, Wednesday night church, Thursday night church. Like, if you don't go to their social lives is church, and the only way they leave their house is the church van picks them up and brings them to church.
Then how does saying I believe in what I believe in get you off?
It doesn't. But I can't lie to them because I'm a terrible liar in that sense.
Shit, I'm not, man. You tell me it's money involved, I'll lie about whatever. I mean, to me, I can get away with random Christians up here just because I'll say.
Why don't we lie to children, dude?
I just don't. But because why? I mean, I'll tell them I don't read the Bible. I don't go to church. I don't go.
You're gonna be like, Needle, bro. Why weren't you at church?
I know, right? Like, why didn't you go to church that night? Like, fuck, man.
You've never been to church, Needle. I'm very religious, but Needle.
Yeah, exactly.
My church. I said last summer. I said, you know what? My church is headphones in with a beer, chopping wood, or doing some shit in my backyard. That's church to me. I'm getting in touch with the higher power.
Dude, my kids think George Washington and Carver freed the slaves.
Yeah, well, I mean, my niece is allergic to peanuts, so maybe there's some sort of connection there.
There you go. It's the teaching aspect when it comes to school is a different world. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
Oh, you ain't telling me nothing.
Are you gonna leave the area? Are you looking forward to getting out of there?
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go though?
Where I can get college coaching jobs, son.
Trying to get, but like, if you had to stay in high school, you're trying to get paid, or are you trying to stay with them kids?
Oh, if next year's my last year,
You're gonna get paid in high school.
The reason I took the job where I'm at is because my friend is head coach. So him and I have put together a program and everything, and we're very young last year, and we're hoping that this year we can get something done.
And this is your first year teaching, right?
Being a full-time teacher, yes.
What
do you teach?
I teach 7th and 8th grade social studies. I'll be teaching U.S. history 11th grade next year.
Nice, dude. U.S. history is fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not at all. Like, I quit. I taught history for six years, I think. Man, I couldn't. Lesson plans and grading and bullshit, man. I couldn't wait to get out the classroom, man.
Because this fucking lazy fuck.
Man,
he doesn't know what work is.
At some point.
Yeah, do a 100-hour work week. Let me know, dude. Teaching is fucking easy.
If I can show you 4 straight years of lesson plans for the exact class I'm about to teach, and in August, you pick a random week, second week of February, and I can tell you in government we're going to be doing the fucking executive branch and shit like that. I shouldn't have to type out lesson plans every single week. That's bullshit.
Why don't you just save them, dude?
Clearly, copy and paste, but that shit still takes 10 minutes that I don't need to be doing.
No way, dude. No way.
Yeah, man, I do lesson plans each week. It takes me maybe 15, 20 minutes. I'm doing it from scratch.
Yeah, but fuck it. Like, why should I have to do that if I can prove to you that I don't need it?
Fine, but there's red tape. There's red tape in every job.
Yeah. Whatever. It sounds like you're failing the system here, my man. Like, you can't just change the file name to, like, 2014. Now it's 2015.
Clearly. But like what I
Do
decided,
that.
I mean, last year, middle of last school year, you know what? I have a special ed license. I'm good. Like what I'm really good at is getting fucked up kids to listen to me, and I have a phonics and like phonemic awareness background. Let me get those bad kids, one or two or three at a time, and have a little bit more of a fluid schedule, and not have all that bullshit paperwork. Because what, like, my value lies in I'm a better history teacher than the two history teachers we got, but my value isn't there. My value is more let me scoop up these kids that didn't eat all week or all weekend, and they're asking for double and triple breakfast on Monday mornings. Let me scoop them up, and let me talk to their parents, and let me be at their house Monday afternoon. That's what I want to do. I don't ever want to be out of the hood, man. I taught.
Okay, so does that have anything to do with? I mean, so you don't like teaching? Okay, cool. So
No, I don't like
the me.
The drudgery of.
What about like a guidance counselor type role?
That if I ever ended up getting a different master's degree, it would be in guidance counseling. But I don't ever foresee myself at a school that really needs a guidance counselor either. Because if you need a guidance counselor, you got kids going to college. I'm trying to get kids out of the 8th grade. You know,
my guidance counselor was the man. He was a very good dude.
50%, like it's over. I think it was like 52% in the last 5 years. 52% of black males in Youngstown don't graduate high school in the last 5 years. So you're talking about more than half. So to me, my you know, I'm not sending kids to YSU. I'm not sending kids to Kent. I'm trying to get motherfuckers to get graduated so that when they do shake off the whole being 18 and being 19 or whatever, they actually have a fallback plan and can get a damn job at fucking Walmart or somewhere.
Yeah, so it's a different style of teaching. I mean, so Needle's teaching kids knowledge, it sounds like, to a point, but he's also dealing with some of that. But yeah, I mean, you're kind of dealing with like just street kids. Are you like the Bunny Colvin group in The Wire? Do you ever run any experiments like that?
I promise you, there's no. I mean, those are actors. I have kids that would make those kids on that TV show cry. Matter of fact, 2 days ago, you can check in the Warren Trib, it's called tribtoday.com, TRIB today.com. You can go back and see a kid that I taught when he was a sophomore, I believe, in high school, or maybe a freshman. He's 24 now. His name, I mean, I'm not going to say his name. He just was shooting up a gas station. They got into a shootout at a gas station late one night. I mean, it just, you know what sucks about it is when I bond with the bad kids. My favorite kid from 2 years ago, he was 14 years old and had been locked up in juvie 14 times as a 14-year-old, right? And he's a bad kid, and I know I was never going to change him. And but he was my people. He's my kind of people.
He got in a gunfight.
No. Yeah, like he's 20. That kid is 24. His last name is Dorsey. Let's just say Dorsey. I mean, you could look it up.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
he was almost always going that route. Because at some point,
that was just a rumor, but
they'll listen to me, but they listen to me for 15, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour a day, and then they're gone, and they go home to squalor. Like I was at a kid's house like 2 months ago to check, just to see how he was doing because he was on my basketball team or whatever, and they had no furniture. And when I tell you no furniture, I mean I opened up the front door. There's 2 gigantic rooms, and there wasn't a table, there wasn't a lamp, there wasn't a piece of paper on the floor. It was clear, nothing. And he ended up they ended up leaving, and later on that, like the next day, I asked him, I was like, "Where'd you guys go when you left?" They, "Oh, we went to get me something to eat." And I knew what I was asking at that point, and I said, "Why didn't you get something, from the kitchen? Why didn't your mom make you a sandwich? Why didn't you go in the fridge and get some food?" And I knew what I was asking, and he said, "We ain't got a fridge. They ain't got a fridge. they ain't got a washer and dryer, and he's 12. What is he supposed to do? You know, his mom, and then he sits there and tells me his mom and their boyfriend, they go back in the back room and they do drugs. And I say, you know, at that point, I'm like, they shoot it or they smoke it. They smoke it. So, like, he knows his mother is a crackhead. He knows his mom's boyfriend is a crackhead. And at what point, you know, when this kid comes to school, if he gets there at all, he's an hour late every single day. I want to help. I've tried to help this kid. But at what point, you know, he's already, I think he's 12 and he's already like a grade or two behind. He's going to be 18 years old before he's done with 10th grade. There's essentially like a 5% chance, 2% chance of him graduating high school. So at what point do I start saying, fuck the standardized test, fuck your curriculum, let me start teaching you about life, like right now, because the only other people that are teaching you about life are crackheads. And I can do I can do that because they listen to me. And I'm not, I guess, a buttoned up sweater wearing teacher, but those kids, there's so many of them, and like Needle said, there's so many kids that they have almost no chance by 3rd, 4th, 5th grade just because of their background. And at some point they don't know how to add, they don't know how to read. At some point they're going to start trying to make some money. And for a lot of my kids, they end up just trying to make it the easy way. And older people take advantage of them. They say, hey, put this in your pocket, walk it down 2 blocks, I'll give you $20. And they don't understand, because to them it's $20. But they don't understand that they're getting used. And I try to explain it to them, but there's only so much you can really do at school. There are several that I have enough of a relationship with that I've taken them home enough times, and I know their parents, that I can kind of talk to them the way that I would talk to them, you know, at my house on a weekend or something. But it's just sad that in the end there are thousands of kids just in my city that are already stamped and cattled on to squalor and to what are they gonna do, you know?
Damn. Well, that is that's a pretty sober moment to end on. I think
I'm kind of mad.
I think we pretty much had a night tonight. I don't know about you fellas, but I think we had some good shit. That was some awesome shit, Neil. You're still here.
I got two things to say. 2 things.
Okay.
One.
Closing thoughts.
Yes, and they have to be shots right now, right?
All right.
One. All right, listen. If you guys haven't gone into OOT, and I'm not calling it OOT or whatever the hell else you would call it, man, go into that dude T-Bab's thread.
Okay.
Listen, my boy Greer, like, if you're listening to me now, Adam, calm down. Oh my God, you have to look at it. And the second thing I would say is, and see, now last time I wasn't talking, I was drinking.
Greer standards for OOT posting, though, are a little bit low. It was not that long ago that Thayer alerted us all that he was offering to get into dick measuring contests, quite literally, with random posters.
I feel like I would win that contest between the 3 of us, but like, what is oh my God, what's the mod cat that Kid Collins' boy?
No idea.
No, that went to Brazil.
Clark.
Listen, Clark, you're not listening anymore.
No.
I know you're not. But Clark, if you're listening, dude, please stop projecting your values onto everyone. Because
he was a lot of reason why I stopped posting. I just don't like his post. Like, he's a different person than he was a couple years ago.
I think Clark is going through. I mean, Clark, you know, let's be honest.
Midlife crisis.
Yes, I mean, the dude left his job. His might lose his dad. I mean, his
girl.
wife's split up. He's in Mexico. I mean, he's in South America having a grand old time. I mean,
Damn.
Clark's having some fun right now, but he needs to definitely tighten up.
I have a very high opinion of him. It's just I remember.
Based on what?
Just stuff over the past years.
I never met Clark, but he has a guy he has a dude that he hired, a long-time 2+2 poster who I have met and who I know through other posters as well really well, who's an incredibly smart dude, PhD in math. And Clark was definitely doing some serious shit. Like when he was at his job and stuff, he was doing some cool shit. But I think
but that shit got nothing to do with the fact.
Did he go hard? But the question is, did he go hard when he was younger? Has he ever alluded to that? Or did
Look at his ass. Fuck no, he hasn't. Like, did you see the picture? Listen, did you see the picture that he posted of himself golfing today?
I did see that.
Man, ask yourself, did he go hard when he was younger?
He did not go hard.
Fuck no.
So he's going hard.
He's trying to moderate and guide discussion based on wearing a sweater and shit. I don't know.
That's why they all need me, bro.
I think
where you
need
at?
the dude that went hard, son.
Where are you at?
I know, Nito. Why did you
You got time.
Why do you originally step down? I think the other thing though that I'll say is I think honestly, because I know that you guys do. I check out your site and I can't fucking remember the name of it now, but I know the site that you and Nath. He goes by Nath, right? That's
Zone
Reads. It's good. Zone Reads.
Zone Reads. Yes. So I think it's cool you're doing that, but I also really think it's cool you're doing that because at the end of the day, I mean, creating content for 2+2 is just, I mean, it's a losing proposition. I mean, you're creating content.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The space,
Yeah, and I kind of feel bad because I haven't done much for them, and probably about a year. I haven't really been
I was going to say.
I mean Zone Reads. I've probably done more for 2+2.
Yeah, I was going to say 2+2.
It's who?
Yeah.
It's Nathan. It's Nathan. Who else? It's somebody else that does.
Mixicator, Smiglet.
Yeah.
Tweety posts there.
Tweety used to. I know Tweety's some stuff's going on there.
They're smart.
What it was when we started was that idea that I was putting a lot of content in 2+2 and was getting nothing out of it. And I obviously not once did I ever sit down and say I want something out of this. The big reason why I did is because I have something that people seem to be interested in. I have knowledge of a sport that people are very interested in. And I mean, I don't know if I was any good at getting information out. I have no idea.
You are, and it's a niche. And it's a niche knowledge. It's a niche knowledge that no one knows, and you have a way of making it sound interesting. Like I want to know more about the line play too. And people been as soon as I said, hey, as soon as Larry said, hey, we're gonna have Needle on, I posted something like, hey, ask some questions. There was all kinds of questions come up real quick because people want to know your take on it.
Yeah, I would say Needle's the most respected NFL poster.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know. I have no idea.
We missed you.
But like I said, the reason I did is because there seemed to be interest in it. And my problem is when I do something, I have to do it 100%. Like I can't. I struggle when I do something. Like even if it's something as silly as streaming Mario 3.
You go hard. You go hard at that.
I want to make sure that when I'm doing it, I'm giving everything I got. And that's like when we talk about the lesson plans. Like I make sure that when I do is I give everything I got. So when I would sit down and I would do this stuff, dude, when I sat down and I would do those breakdowns of players, dude, that stuff would take 2-3 hours to do. That stuff took time. And time is just not something I have at the moment. Maybe over the summer things can change. Once school's out and my job vacations and everything is starting to slow down.
When's your last day of school?
June 5th is my last day of school.
Hey, that's mine too.
Okay, so I mean,
I got like 15 days off for cold.
Though, in fairness, today is my last day of actual school because we had our state testing today. So now the next couple weeks is more like just whatever. So I have more time on my hands coming forward. So maybe I can sit down and do some stuff. I don't like to draft because I don't like projecting players to be bad. I don't like that stuff. I'd rather project someone to be good. But I think the whole thing with the posting was like, why am I going to do this if I'm going to receive backlash? Like, that's not why I do. Like, I don't do this for anything.
It's feedback. It's feedback.
I'd rather have feedback people saying things like, "Listen, I don't agree with that, but this is why." I don't I don't
People,
want to waste my time reading shit.
people saying like, "Shut the fuck up," post LOLOL or nothing.
Right, that's a waste of my time. And like I said, my time is valuable. So I'm not gonna sit down and do something for a couple hours, put it out there, and then like, oh, you piece of shit, like what you do? Like, okay, fine, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just not gonna waste my time. And I just felt like that. Like I said, 2+2 to me was amazing. And the reason it was is because it was a place for me to think a little bit deeper about stuff. The reason that I was able to help my football stuff because I could put it into words, and for me that was able to I can go back and read it and go, okay, this is what I saw at this point. Now, it benefited me because I could see it visually what I was thinking. So, it helped develop me in that sense, which is silly, and I guess in a fact.
But the internet is the same as real life, except for the fact that people don't have to deal with the uncomfortableness of telling someone they're wrong to the face. Like, my biggest problem with message boards in general is that you wouldn't say that to me if we were sitting here talking.
Right, most people would not talk the way they talk to me in person.
Right, and as a fellow big, I mean, I'm not offensive guard big, but I also know that there's not a whole lot of people in life, except for my really close, longtime friends, that'll say "fuck off" to me. You're wrong, without a big long disclaimer or knowing that they're right. So when Larry says "LOLOL," WTF, because people are responding like that, to me, that has to be the thing that turns you off, because you're not saying that to my face, and two, more importantly, you're not telling me why I'm wrong. And when you're trying to provide content to people and not just there for entertainment, that has to be the turnoff.
Right, it's frustrating. And I think that was the thing, was I just got frustrated. And I haven't done anything with zone reads. I haven't done anything for 2+2. Really, it's been, when I've sat down and watched this stuff, I've made a Google Documents for myself. But that's what I did, because to me, it's always about continuing to learn. I want to be continuing learning. So when I watch college players, I'm looking at how they're writing the offenses. I'm watching how Wisconsin ran Melvin Gordon. What was the coach thinking? That's how I'm doing when I'm sitting down doing this stuff. I do it for the information for the people that I can maybe give it to.
You do it for you.
I'm also doing it so I can learn. Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's what you want to do, right?
But so that's why I would do it, and that's why I continue to follow that stuff. But I'm not going to put in the 2 hours of breaking down a film, find the moments I want to find, doing that stuff, just to have it shat on. That's fine if that's what you want to do, but I don't got time for that.
So one name? Can you give us one name? Needle?
I can't give. That's not who I am.
Was it a mod?
At this point,
my man.
At this point, you guys know at least that about me is.
He's a man of his word.
I'm not gonna drop names like that. If you're not man enough to step up to the plate, that's your thing.
Drop a shout out, man.
I hope it wasn't me.
No, it was neither. Wiper has sent me shit.
I would never say something like that, but I'm just kind of stoned sometimes. Everyone drinks. I mean, I would hope that I never would be mean to Needle, but everyone has lows, I guess.
Dude, and here's the thing too with me is I get hammered drunk, but if I was to drunk post, I'm not drunk PMing somebody, dude. I'm dropping it for everyone to see.
Oh yeah,
that's my thing.
And I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't say right to somebody. And
right,
God didn't bless me with a crooked nose, man. I earned the crooked nose, and that's because I've been a shit talker for a long time, and my nose wasn't crooked when I was 9 years old. So I'm gonna say whatever I'm gonna say, and there's just a lot of fake people, man, that wouldn't say things like that. I don't know, and not that I'm the toughest guy in the world, but I don't know. Needle, you got a girlfriend, man? You got time for some girls?
I don't have a girlfriend. I have.
You got a boy? You got a boyfriend?
I mean, I have friends there, boys, but no, I have
Oh, you said that.
No, when it comes to women, I don't. Knowing I'm only going to be here for a period of time I am, why am I going to start?
That's the best situation to be in.
Exactly. And I take care of what needs to be taken care of. I don't have girlfriends. Fuck that. That's too much, man. I don't have money for that.
All right, boys. Well, I think we should wrap it up at this point. And,
On the girlfriend talk, I like it.
We got about
LeBron
10
just
minutes
dunked on him again.
to watch
Oh
Cleveland.
my god.
So we can go watch the Bulls win.
Shout out to Needle, man. You're listen. You might not attract the women, but you're a smart dude.
No, he does. He does attract
women. I feel like I appreciate like just sitting here listening. I've been sitting in my garage listening to you talk, and I'm not bored yet. And you have a very special. Listen, you have a very specialized set of knowledge and things that are and you know how to make it interesting to listen to. So I wish you the best, and as soon as we hang up, I'll text you like fuck off or whatever. But for real, you're an interesting dude, and I hope that you start to move forward again, because it sounds like you kind of got hosed in the beginning, and now you're working your way back up. So good luck with all that shit, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Listen,
thanks for being on.
Yeah, man. This shit. Here. I like this shit, man. I like bullshit. Like I don't care who's with. I'll bullshit with anybody. That's what I'm here for. That's why I was pulling this episode, is bullshit. But yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm doing a cool thing. I know that there's a nice little community with that, and having some voices put to it, it's actually kind of cooler. And I like that idea. So I think the whole idea you have going on here is pretty awesome. Just don't let Wiper talk that much, dude.
No, I'm terrible.
We lost Hoya. We lost Hoya last minute, So considering that, I mean, I think our production.
Where was he at?
We lost Hoya, so I mean, without him, we were hurting. But I think we were able to.
Those two. This is what they do. I'm just a guy that gets drunk and mumbles and doesn't make much sense.
Well, if you ever want to come back on this, let us know, because
right, you guys are good. Yeah, you guys. I mean, they're good, and you guys are all clean. Needle, you sound you got a voice for radio. I'm sure your face is for radio too. But
for sure, dude. No one wants to see me. It's just my face been beat up too much, man. It ain't for people to look at.
Needle. All right, guys.
Yeah, gentlemen.
Go Cavs. Go Cavs.
Of course. All right, boys.
Later.
Yep.